My name is Gloria. I'm 33 years old. 2 years ago, I married my husband. We lived together in an apartment. Household chores. There was a time when I believed we have a happy married life, but after we got married, the ideal not there. I knew that Andy and I had different values, thought that we would gradually acquire each other's values. But the problem wasn't with her, it was with my mother-in-law. It happened in the first month of their marriage, was going to work in the morning. Suddenly, my mother-in-law came and said to me,
Huh? What are you doing this early morning? Are you going out somewhere, Gloria?
when I answered that I was going to, mother-in-law rolled her eyes in surprise.
You're married, aren't you? You're a wife now? What are you thinking, going to work?
She suddenly yelled at me. Instead of helping me, my husband said, "I told you so."
I'm going to be late for work. See you later.
He left me like that. I didn't know what to do, so I told my mother-in-law.
I'm gonna be late for work too.
That's when my mother-in-law changed.
Going to work? Are you serious? You're a wife now. Do your duty, Ed. You're supposed to trust your husband. Let him do his job.
My mother-in-law kept interrupting us. I tried to get out of her way.
I'm sorry, but I have to go. Please use this key and put it in the lock when you leave.
With that, I forced the key into the lock and went to work. However, I made the mistake of letting my mother-in-law stay at home that day. When I came home after work, my moth was still there. As soon as I entered the room, she
Sit down right there.
yelled at me with a stern look eye, and I, startled by the force one words, fearfully obeyed her. Then my mother-in-law droned on about what a wife should be like. It was all the same old values. When Andy came home in the middle of his lecture, she made him sit down and listen to her.
You are a husband, so show some dignity. If your wife does whatever she wants, your family will fall apart.
Andy apologized repeatedly to his mother. I couldn't understand why Andy was against his mother. Times have changed, but the need to be heard has not. It's none of our business. And yet, she came in early in the mow and caused trouble for us. Moreover, she wants me to quit my job. No matter how you look at it, there is a point in obeying your mother-in-law. And yet, I felt very uncomfortable, would do as he was told. I complained to him after my mother left.
Why do you always listen to your mom? She's just pushing her ideal family. It's not right to be forced like this absurd.
But Andy had a weakness for his moth, his life.
I'm sorry, but I can't rebel if she... Can't you do as Mom says? Just this?
My husband asked me such a thing.
That's impossible. You know how important my job is? The next time your mother comes over, let her into the house.
No, you cannot do that. Mom will get angry and blame her husband for not being able to control his wife.
Andy's words made me angry again.
But it's the truth, isn't it? We're in this mess because you never to your mother. Can you at least talk to your father and make your mother stop doing what she wants?
But Mom doesn't listen to Dad either.
Don't you see that you're mother of contradictions? She said that if a wife does whatever she wants, the family will fall apart. She's the one who's destroying them.
When I said that, my husband got upset.
Don't speak badly about my mom.
He glared at me, which was rare. If you can afford to have that kind of attitude, I hope you'll show some respect in front of your mother too. But it's my fault that I chose Andy husband, and I still love him after all. I decided to do my best to get along with my mother-in-law from now on. To start with, all of my previous boyfriends have been the bossy type. To be honest, I had a lot of bad experiences with them. So I thought that Andy, who is quiet and gentle at heart, would make me happy. In reality, he was too reserved and unreliable. which was a disadvantage. I decided to believe that I could H situation if it was up to me. Since then, I have been trying to do my household chores perfectly. Still, sometimes my mother-in-law comes over and complains to me.
Aren't you neglecting the housework? You're both working?
When she said that, I asked her to look at every inch of the house.
What do you think? I'm doing a good the housework, aren't I? Is there any part of the house that fulfill my responsibilities anymore?
When I said that, my mother-in-law's frustrated face, and she refuted me.
Isn't Andy helping you, is he?
My mother-in-law glares at Andy, saying, "You're not going to take my daughter away from me." Andy turned pale and roughly shook sideways. He seems never lied to his mother. So, my mother-in-law believes in 100 of Ouija board statements. As a matter of fact, I make Andy do the housework. It's our secret that I make him lie of his mother. And my mother-in-law doesn't seem to care at all. But at first, my husband couldn't do any housework at all. As she put on her shoes, my mother said in frustration,
Even if it's good now, it won't last forever. I'm going to get proof. I swear to God.
Well, you're such a persistent person. Was going to let us continue in that way. But my mother-in-law still comes at times each week, and she's still a pain in the butt.
Hey, this corner is too dusty, see? I knew it. You were not doing enough housework because you were working. Quit the job and take care of the house.
This kind of life went on for 2. To be honest, I was getting tired of marriage. It's stressful just to have her come over every once in a while to check on the housework. And then she checks the fridge and wardrobe. I wonder how much she can drive people crazy. That day, my mother-in-law came over and started rummaging through the kitchen.
What? You don't have anything in here. You can't even cook a decent meal for yourself, let alone for others.
That's when Andy came home with a big shopping bag in both hands. What a bad timing. My mother-in-law was shocked to see me start making a big fuss.
My God, Gloria, what were you thinking to make such a mess in the housework?
Well, with all due respect, this Kier thing is the norm nowadays. Families with old-fashioned ideas are becoming less common.
When I said that, my mother-in-law turned red and she started yelling,
You do whatever you want and me with everything? Disgusting. And you too, Andy. Why do you let this man up?
Andy's face is turning pale. He puts the shopping bags on the his shoulders, and remains silent. He really is a pathetic guy. Then I spoke back to my mother-in-law's strong tone of voice.
I've been thinking about this for a long time, but isn't this impolite? Andy and I are on equal footing as and wife. Both of us treat each other with rest. We have decided not to put the burden on either side. And I will continue to work even if children. At that time, I will ask Andy to pair in raising our child. We are our own family, separated from family. So I don't want you to interfere with my work.
Then my mother-in-law shook her head.
I'm done with this house.
Then she left. Andy apologized to me with a frightened attitude.
I'm sorry I didn't say anything back.
You don't need to apologize. I've accepted that you are like that ago. Don't worry about your mother. Just be yourself as you are, and
Andy nodded with tears in his eyes, said that, since then, I haven't had any contact with my mother-in-law. And she doesn't come to the house unexpectedly anymore. One day, I got sick and took a day work. I decided to go to the hospital just to check something. I took a pregnancy test and got a PC result. Then I went to the organ for a pregnancy test. 5 weeks pregnant with twins. I was the first to break the news to. He was overjoyed. We called each other's parents and congratulated us. My mother-in-law came to our house for the first time in a long while, and with a smile I had never seen be said to me.
Congratulations, Gloria. From now on, I will support you in Cannes. Please don't hesitate to ask me.
For the first time, my mother-in-law smiled at me. I could honestly say my thanks to her. Then the morning sickness got worse. With twins, I took maternity leave. I was to return to work a year after the birth. In the meantime, I did what I could. Andy, my parents, and sometimes Mai came to the house to help me out. We found out that both of our children, girls, my mother-in-law immediately bought items despite the due date having passed. I didn't want her to give me toys that a 5-year-old would use so early, but I smiled and thanked my mother her kindness. She seemed to be in a good mood. Just as I was enjoying such a peaceful moment, my mother-in-law said to me, "The blue."
So now Andy can finally have his decent.
Huh? What did you say? I was bothered by my mother-in-law and asked her back.
Well, what do you mean by that?
I'm saying you're going to be a house, right? Finally, Andy may have a tough time because he's a twin, but I guess he'll be even motivated harder at his job. You'll support Andy and be a good the kids. That's what a decent family is.
My mother-in-law's words disgusted me. I sighed and wondered if I would have to continue fighting with her for the rest of my life. Then I told her the truth with a blank expression on my face.
I'm going back to work after my mate leave.
What? You're not lying to surprise me, are
No, I'm not. Also, after I return to work, Andy quit his job. It's been decided that Andy will become a full-time stay-at-home father.
Huh? What nonsense are you talking? You're a mother, and you don't want your children to be afraid of the dark.
Well, my income is higher than Andy's. Of course, I even support him while we both thought it would be better children.
Then my mother-in-law began to tremble. She turned her face to me with anger never seen before.
Impossible. That's unforgivable. I didn't raise Andy to be unhappy. Divorce. I will make him divorce you, sure.
My mother-in-law said shoo and ran out of our apartment as if she was running away. When Andy came home from work, he had a worried look on his face.
Mom was so annoying, she called me was at work. She said it was wrong what we decided. I don't know what she'll do. Gloria, why don't you go back to your parents' house for a while and have their...
It's rare for Andy to suggest something. Even when he proposed to me, he showed me the engagement ring. While trembling and couldn't even say, "Will you marry me?" I was glad of his kindness and courtesy.
Well, I'll take your word for it, and
I told my parents about the situation and that I was going to have the babies in my apartment. While I was there, I called Andy Eve. I remembered the time when back then we didn't see each other often, so we used to call each other this. My mother-in-law was still furious, so she brought divorce papers. Of course, Andy assured her that he never divorced me. And he even made me another suggest was able to spend my day with P-Mind. It was so unimaginably painful, but my hand and cheered me up the whole. I gave birth to our baby girls. Andy stayed at my parents' house unsettled. After a while, he returned to the apartment on his own. Then I received a phone call from my mother-in-law.
Hello, Gloria. Only Andy came back and didn't say about you. You're not going to come back here.
For some reason, my mother-in-law is always a part of our family vacation.
I am coming home tomorrow with the...
No, don't come back. I don't want to see your face. You and Andy are getting a divorce. Why don't you stay there with your... Andy went there to talk about his divorce.
My mother-in-law said that in a snarky tone, so I chuckled and said, "Oh, really?
Please don't worry. But I don't think Andy will see you."
When I said that, my mother-in-law, after a short pause,
What? What are you talking about?
So, haven't you heard from Andy? It means that you and Andy are not just a mother and son. Andy went back to the apartment first to pack. We're moving out tomorrow. Have you seen any cardboard boxes for sale?
No, I haven't seen anything like that. The room looks clean, but that's because Andy worked so hard
Then I faintly heard Andy's voice from the other end of the phone. It was as though the call had been put on hold, and then Andy's voice came through clearly.
Sorry, Gloria. I didn't expect to see you here.
It's okay, don't worry about it. What about the packing?
Yeah, almost done. I thought it would be troublesome to hide it in a closet, so I did not make a fuss and hid the box there.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
As we were saying that, my mother-in-law started yelling.
What the hell are you talking about? Andy, don't tell me you're moving. Cutting ties with me? No.
I was about to tell her the truth when,
No, you... Shut up, Mom. I've had enough of your crap. All you do is impose your own rule. You don't know how much trouble you are causing us. I'm sick of it. That's why we've decided to cut ties with you. And when did you even make a duplicate without our permission? Give it to me so I can return the management company.
Andy told his mother that once upon a time,
What, Andy? You're divorcing Gloria, you? Why are you saying that to me?
Divorce. I never said I'm divorcing. Gloria earns more than me. Didn't she tell you before? If Gloria had become a housewife, they would have had a decent family. The girls would have to put up with...
But it's just one woman's income. Gloria's father and brother are in the process of running a company, but they have nothing to do with her.
then I opened my mouth.
You know, I didn't tell you because you would have made a big fuss if I did. I work for my brother's company. He's going to start another company. And I'm supposed to take over this then.
Huh? You mean you, a woman, will be president?
Yes, president. But for now, I have other members of the company to deal with. I think we've talked about this before.
Yes, I had told her about this, but during our wedding greetings, and she forgot. My mother-in-law seemed to have become incapable of answering anything. And she remained silent for a long time. Then Andy said,
Oh, by the way, Barry works for Gloria Brothers Company. If you have that kind of attitude happen to Barry...
Barry is Andy's second brother and sales manager at my brother's company. The world is a small place, and I met the wedding and found out he was her brother. Then my mother-in-law said with a sigh, I'm so glad you came.
Oh my God! I didn't know. I swear. So please don't fire Barry. He's having a hard time with 3 now. So please.
I almost laughed.
No, I can't fire an employee because Andy threatened to. But really, please don't meddle in anymore. Well, we're cutting ties with you. Doesn't matter anymore, huh?
My mother-in-law was still ranting, but Andy seemed to have forced his phone. The next day, my parents dropped me new house with the twins. The movers had already finished moving furniture in boxes. Andy unpacked, and my parents helped out everything away. After a while, my father-in-law came home. After Andy cut off his mother-in-law, his father-in-law decided to give up on her. My mother-in-law's imposition of her values wasn't just on Andy, but also on his father and brother. It seemed like the whole family was just as excited as we were. This time, Andy, who was the quietest and most obedient to my mother-in-law, turned against her. One by one, his brothers declared their independence from her. My father-in-law has also left the house, preparing for a divorce with a large amount of debt. My mother-in-law has been abandoned by her family members. Andy quit his job and has been doing it full-time to take care of the twins. I'm also doing my best every day we can. After all, when I think about our future expenses like tuition fees and others, it's better for me to work than for Andy No matter what anyone says, I will the policy that Andy and I decided couple. We will continue to build a happy Faye our own. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel if see you in the next video.